Guys, do you know gated communities? Do you understand what gated communities are? Yeah. When before we started the show, behind the scenes, and we were having a conversation about that today, about today's show, and our producer thought these are like, you know how a house is in a gate. That's what he thought gated communities are. So we feel, I think, perhaps at the end of this show, he will understand exactly what gated communities are. What are they? Are they important? Are they good? You know, is it something that can be encouraged in our society? You know, can we start having a different perspective about our homestead, our environment, our neighbors? You know, so with the previous episodes, we've discussed the risks involved in real estate. We've discussed the importance of condominiums, what condominiums are, how do we do, you know, if someone wants to procure a condominium, how do they go about it? And basically the general understanding of real estate and, you know, the nitty-gritties under it. So we brought Herbert, who is always gracious to come to the show.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Yes, as usual, when it comes to real estate, you're the person I think of. I mean, with 15 years of experience, you have a lot to bring to the table.
It's my passion.
It's your passion.
You know, I told you I'm writing a book about it.
You're writing a book? Yes, I remember. And now we are still demanding you. Last we checked, we had like 49% views.
49%.
How far are we now?
Maybe we're at 47.
I like. Thank you.
It's steady progress.
Yes. We look forward to being inspired by your book.
Thank you.
Now, first explain to our producer and the general public what gated communities are, because some may think, you know, it's a community in a gate, our houses in a gate.
Maybe I can explain to the viewers and my producer through giving examples. You know, gated communities, you buy or you develop a very big chunk of, you buy a big chunk of land, and then you in a certain place, then you put uniformity properties. You agree, maybe we are going to put bungalows on this side, we are going to put storage houses on this side, but with uniformity. For example, if you can see Accurate, if you can see Royal Palms, then villas, and also maybe some condominiums that are so much they are in one gate. So gated communities are residential houses that have a name. They have a specific address, they have a name that is like Mirembe Villas, and on a specific location, but with that uniformity of construction. I think, I don't know that I've explained, I didn't want to go into academic. I wanted the viewers to understand through examples.
It's okay. At the end of the show, we shall ask our producer for him to know if he has understood. If he hasn't understood, we shall know that the viewers didn't understand. So, Herbert, that sounds like, yes, I'm quite familiar with Mirembe Villas. I don't, Accurate, I've been to Accurate. Is it as organized? Does it give, I understand maybe the intention was to be, you know, for it to be a gated, you know, community. But if you say that the houses have to be uniform, you know, there has to be a certain organization, does then Accurate fall into in that line?
Accurate, actually, that friend of mine, Kamisha, I respect him. He created a city. So, you know, a city, you have to have different developments. So there are some more unique developments in there, but when you enter Accurate, you feel like you have entered something that is special outside Kampala, and that's why these gated communities are important. You go and you have security. You enter into a gate. Have you ever gone to Royal Palms, Puerto Rico?
No, I haven't, but I've been to the one for Ham that is in Arkwright. Is that the one you're talking about?
No.
Because it's also Palm Villa?
No, Royal Palms it's in Mutarika, not Arkwright.
The other one is Palm Villa.
Yeah, Royal Palm, I don't know the company that developed it. I think it was, I've forgotten. They developed similar buildings and put a gate and everything when you enter, you'll find a swimming pool, you'll find a gym, so the community is so well organized. And that's what, for Arkwright, it is a very big chunk of land, and with such a mixed development. 2 miles with mixed developments. That's why you couldn't say that it's like a gated community. So a gated community is you have a location, and this is my address, and the people living in that area, they have what we call code of conduct. They agree, we are going to do this. By the way, Kamusha told me that he is a mayor of Arkwright City. He's a road mayor. Yeah, they select leaders and agree on how to live in that organized environment. So in Africa we have been living as a communal. Not until when we started having different categories of people according to their pockets, finances. And now, because some people are richer than others, they don't trust others, so they have those gates plus.
They've started creating their own communities within a community.
Yeah, their own communities. You put a very big gate, and no one outside can see what is happening inside, and you are not secure. You buy dogs, you have an askari, but you also, when you are sleeping, you are always scared.
Even cameras.
Yeah, even cameras, but you're always scared. And that's what has killed our beauty, has killed our uniformity, our communal living in Africa. Yeah, sure.
Is it so? Like, it must be a capital intensive project, to say, what, we're going to develop this chunk of land, we're going to put a gated community. So where do people get this money? Like, how do we get money to invest in such properties?
I stay in Nangawoka Sangat, and I bought a plot of land, and there are other people. It is an estate. There are other people who bought land, and each person is built according to their wish,
their capacity.
Their capacity. But I think if we had come together as individual and as estate owners and agree on the similar plans, same plans, we do the plans and we say, let's go with this. And I think we would be much more organized. When I'm going to my house and I'm hooting, someone to open for me, then there is another car that is coming. It has to wait until they open for me so that it passes.
Oh.
So that's how bad it is. When some people are so mean that you can, you enter into, you build to and encroach even on the access road to your gate. That's how bad it is here in Kampala. So if it is a gated community, you have wider roads and you agree on, you have one gate. So when you enter, it's like you have entered. And I normally have I feel good when I'm going up country. At up country, we don't have gates. There are people have started putting boundary walls in up country, but it's not a good idea.
Why isn't it a good idea?
How can you put a gate in up country? Really?
Why not? It's my home. I want privacy. I want, you know.
That privacy should be a communal privacy.
It ceases to be privacy.
Should be a communal privacy because that's where we lived in a community. Like you are cooking and someone comes in and say, hey, how are you? And start greeting. You are in the kitchen and they are outside, and then they are passing by and they go. So it has been. That's why, by the way, for information, depression and stress is caused by the privacy.
Oh, really?
Yes. If you are in the gate, and I felt it during this COVID-19, when you are in the gate and the children want to go out, they can't go out. You feel you are in prison. You feel you are in prison, but if there are no gates, you can be happy, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do very well know that human beings are social beings, you know, we thrive in social environments.
Yeah, sure.
But now, Herbert, I have my house, I have my properties, and I leave it open to whom it may concern. It, like you said, I'm going to worry about thieves. I'm going to worry about, you know, because we are of different socio-economic class. So if I build my mansion in the village and leave it open, while you're advising that, some people may say, but no, that is us leaving our boundaries open for danger.
Okay, maybe for a country, yes. No, I can't say yes. First of all, like me, when I go to my place in Chogombe, I know I'm safe. Reason, I'm a people's person. By the way, the people who come to steal is the people because you are just mean. You come and your window glasses of the car are up and you don't want to greet them. But if you associate and you help them to prosper, you help them to grow, then really, why should they come to attack you at night?
What's your general attitude towards, what's your take on the general Ugandans' attitude towards gated communities?
It's quite costly, and especially here in Kampala, it's quite costly. The government should have. The government is supposed to provide some services, utilities, for example, road network, electricity, but the private investor who comes in to create such a kind of environment suffers. And by these days, URA even says that it is a capital gain. You have put in a lot of money to create roads and to put power. Now URA says it is a capital gain, so you pay tax. And remember, interest rates in Uganda, bank interest rates are high, so you find it's very expensive. But it's a very good an initiative. Gated communities that policymakers and government should really encourage and partner with private developers to see that different areas have gated communities.
When I remember, I had a conversation with Dr. Anatoly Kamujisha of Arkwright, the founder of Arkwright, and one of the challenges he faced, I mean, to have to bring the roads, you know, have roads, pull electricity, water without government's help. And instead, the government actually now attacked him as soon as he had just started his project. So you can only imagine, like, at some point you need support from those in higher positions. Those, like at the end of the day, you're trying to do something good for the community.
Sure. Now, another thing is there is a power of partnership. I always talk about it. For example, if we are 30 people and we discuss that we can go to, for example, Namuronge and buy a big chunk of land, then agree we are going to build a gated community. Then we make a plan, we get an architect, and we plan very well that here is going to be a swimming pool, here is going to be a gym, here is going to be different apartments, different bungalows of same roofing, same style. Now you can change inside, but outside it should be the same. Don't you think it can be very beautiful?
I've been to Mirembe Villas, and you know, even just entering the gate, you feel safe.
Now, this can happen. It can happen if, for example, investment club members can decide that let's go and stay together in a certain area. Or by the another thing is people in the retirement die of depression because of loneliness. Imagine we go to maybe Rira and build and buy 100 acres, and we build houses for retirement. I go and stay there with you, with the producer, with very many people, and you find old people who would be jogging on the roadside, enjoying.
There would be life.
Viewers, don't you see it would be beautiful?
But how do we get to that? Yes, we are buying 800 acres. How do we get to buy 800 acres? We need money. So how do you then advise a young person watching us? What are some of the practical ways they can have that money, have access to those funds that they can then lead them to make, develop gated communities?
In basic English term, we used to
explain to a 5-year-old.
In basic English term, we used to say, bundle by bundle.
Bundle by
one by one makes
a bundle.
Yes, one by one makes a bundle. I think if we can have different investment groups, even by the young people, parents, encourage. Some of you are in different groups, maybe Marriages Fellowship, maybe a Lottery, Lions Club. Parents, you are in those groups. Encourage your people, your young ones, also to form groups, to form different groups, and support them. Then they will grow, knowing that we can. If they get to 2,000, let's put it here for a certain purpose, including developing community.
So clear goals. And again, if I'm going to come up with 100,000 Ugandan shillings, it may take me longer than if I bring in maybe 30 of my friends.
Yes.
And the goal is to come up with 100 million to buy a chunk of land somewhere. So I think it's very important for young people to think about investment clubs, like be intentional on these things and know who is joining this group. Do a whole evaluation. So that's the people who are joining the group are people who are going to take you forward, not backward.
Yes, and put strict rules and
strict rules
and to follow. I've visited many areas, many states here in Uganda, and apart from what I've told you, creating one way in an estate, like two vehicles cannot pass by each other. I have seen someone puts a very nice bungalow somewhere, very nice, and he comes and enters it, and then the following day the neighbor brings a very big apartment and puts it on the above that house. Really, first of all, your house has depreciated. No one will like to buy it. You will hate it. Now you see what
You don't have the curfew you had before.
you don't have the curfew that they have blocked it, and whatever you are doing, the other guy is seeing. Even if you put what type of fence, that person will see what is. I've seen it in many.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying planned residential houses are very important. Yeah, very important. Recently, when I was still, of course, renting, I would, with my family, I would go to the village for Christmas, can even spend a month there, knowing that your property is safe. Why? Because we are living in apartments, and there are people who have remained behind and who have an askari. And there's security. But with our selfish attitude, when we developed a house and we put the gate, I'm going to a country with my family. I have to hire a guard. I have to hire someone to remain at home. I have to hire someone to remain at home. We have to get dogs.
Then you can't say you are being selfish. You know? Yeah. Someone else can say you are providing a safe environment for your family. Because even having apartments, I think they also have their cons, their advantages and disadvantages. And so does having your own apartment, your own house.
I was saying that if where we are staying, I told you it's an estate. If we had agreed, instead of putting a fence, every person, we are, for example, my neighbors, we are 5. If we had put one fence, so in that estate we are over 100 homeowners. If we had put only one boundary wall and one gate, now we would have like maybe 1 or 2 askaris, and you know that your area is safe. You put different street lights, and when you enter to sleep, you are sleeping well. So
yes.
It is cheap actually to live communally.
Have you engaged your neighbors on that?
No, I haven't. I suppose it is too late. I think they like watching this program.
Is it too late, really?
They are watching me, and we have the chairman, who is my friend, who will talk. We'll talk and see. Because really, gated communities, you live, when you enter it, you feel you have entered home. You feel at home. That serenity, that those green areas, you feel you have entered at home. From this noisy place in the city, when you go, you feel you have entered at home. But when you enter at home to sleep, if a cat outside knocks something like a dustbin, and you say, now someone has entered here, you cannot have a good sleep. Yeah.
But I still feel it's not too late. Actually, I think it's not too late. Sit down with your chairman, with your people, and you see, you just never know. Hopefully, the next time we have you on the show, you tell us how that conversation went. Because we want to know how practical is this thing,
It's also not too late for young people, especially younger corporates, to form clubs. Maybe you can call them gated community clubs. Gated community clubs. You form different clubs for that purpose.
Simba wakati. Let's come back. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, you tell us about gated community clubs.
Yeah.
See you later. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us and staying tuned so as to learn and understand more about gated communities. So before we took a break, Herbert had just introduced the concept of gated investment clubs. Please elaborate. What do you mean by gated investment clubs?
Yeah, because like I've mentioned, there are very many advantages and advantages of living in a gated community. So I request young corporate people who have started earning, you cannot do it alone. If you can meet together as a group who share same values, same aspirations, if you can meet together and agree that you are going to stay together, then start now, start investing, start saving, start saving, and also you come and approach to me. We'll talk more about, we'll talk more about how you can acquire land, very good piece of land, and you build a gated community.
So what I'm hearing you say to the corporate, to the people out there who may have some resources, is that then they get land. Probably they haven't constructed before, so they get like a big chunk of land.
Yes.
Organize, have a plan for how the idea or how they want the houses to be, have shared values, and start building. They have. So we shouldn't have to wait for someone out there to develop for us. We ourselves can just.
Yeah, because it's costly. It will be expensive for private investors. When they develop, there is a markup.
It's more expensive.
There is a markup where he has put in some. He's doing business.
Yes.
It's an investment. He has to get more money. But if you come as young people and you say, let's save for this particular purpose. Sometimes we save without a purpose, and that's why that saving does not grow.
Eat it.
You eat it later. But if you save for this particular purpose, you will even deny yourself going to a cafe, because your purpose is to have a house with Amos, have a house with John, have a house with Doreen in the same area. So you will deny your enjoyment now so that you will live comfortably in the near future. So save with the purpose, and of course there are some investment clubs where people have already built, others have not yet built. Maybe amongst the investment clubs you can create another investment club for those particular people who want to live in a gated community. That's why I've called it maybe gated community investment clubs.
So beyond that feeling of safety, gated communities provide, beyond that feeling of when you enter the main gate, you just feel like I'm at home. What other advantages do gated communities have? Like of course safety is the most important, and that serenity, but also your children are safe to live in an area where you have similar values, and you open. We used to play football until deep in the dark at night. But now children from school, they go home and they go and watch cartoons, and they don't live with others. They feel actually we're not creating teamwork amongst. We are not creating that social work amongst the children, because they are living in those boundary walls. But if it is a gated community of 100 families, you leave children to go and play. They are safe. They will not go outside the main gate because there is security personnel. But even in the gated community, that there is a tennis, there is a football pitch, a swimming pool can be controlled. Those social amenities.
Yeah, so children can go and play. Then also it is safer, like in this fuel crisis. If you have a van, it can take you to town. Instead of each person driving their own car, and you are staying in the same place and you are working in the same area, or your children are going to the same school or nearby schools, you can have a school van. Your own gated community school van that will take your children. It is cheaper, it is cheaper to stay in a gated community than staying alone. Reason, you will not have dogs. You will not have your different askaris. Garbage collection is done communally. You put it in a certain way, and person will come and take. So you'll find it is cheap actually living in a gated community than living alone. Apart from that serenity and communal ownership, but it is cheaper.
It should also have some shortcomings. What are you also tell us some of the things that the cons of having gated communities, so that omuntu waba ayagala kiyingiramu, they enter in with knowing what they're entering into.
Wama, you enter into it.
If you die, you die.
No, they are not dying now. No dying. I think the cons, there are very few disadvantages of gated communities. One is someone feels that they are not safe. Some people naturally they like privacy. Some people naturally like privacy, and they feel like it's not so private. And so then also they can have a crop of people that have bad behaviors that affect the children, the neighborhood children, and what I think those are the disadvantages. But if you have similar values,
But how do you know? How do we know we have similar values? Sure, I can have a perception of your values. Like Herbert, we have interacted for a minute, and I think have a sense of the man that you are. But people have sometimes what we know, what they show the public is in who they really are, in when they're in the comfort of their home. So how do we really ensure that the crop of people that are in this community are ABCDFG? How do we go about that? When you are going to marry someone, you court. There is what they call courtship. So before, as you invest, you do the courtship. Before you get, even by the way in business, before you get a business partner, you need to do courtship. I need to quote the 100 people that are going to be in that community. How practical is that?
You do the courtship, then also you have a code of conduct that each person signs. You are not supposed to play loud music. You are not supposed. By the way, it's also a disadvantage. If someone wants to they have
it's
visitors.
Friday. It's Friday
they
night.
have visitors. They want to shout, and then you come in and say, according to our rules, you are not supposed to shout for us. And that's an advantage and a disadvantage. Recently, I on our platform, on our where I stay platform, people were complaining about the church that has come in the neighborhood. Within the residential, there is a church, and every night they are playing loud music and bussing come, and you cannot sleep. So within the residential, there is a house. Within the residential, there is a mosque. Within the residential, really, if I am to compare advantages and disadvantages, it's better to have a gated community because the disadvantages are selfishness. Privacy, what, maybe. I think they are selfish disadvantages. Otherwise, as human beings, we can really live communal, social life.
From this whole conversation we've had, it's like for you already decided. For you, you're pro-gated communities.
And unfortunately, I'm not in Bambi, like you have said.
That's why you go and rally. Yeah, you go rally your people and tell them, guys. Yeah, first of all, watch the show today, and then we talk.
Yeah, another thing is even if you have already made a mistake like me, you can always correct it. You can sell your house. I told my wife, and she's watching, that I can sell a house if I get a better alternative. We can. I've forgotten. We can. We can sell the house if we have a better alternative. So guys out there, if you are there and would want to invest in a gated community, I'm also still a candidate. I'm still available.
You're applying?
Yeah, I'm applying. Those guys who are going to start those gated community investment club. Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of it all, it's important to get like-minded people who have the same picture like you do. From what I've heard you say, also the fact that while our perception is that gated communities are quite expensive, if you want to go buy a house in Mirembe Villas, they'll tell you it's $250,000, which could be, overpricey. Sorry, a bit pricey for some people. But all hope is not lost. You can just get a group of your friends who haven't constructed yet, or who already constructed, who already have a place, but maybe they're not comfortable there. They can always sell it or use it for something else, rent it or something, and start your own. Just buy land and have a standard on how do we want our community to look like. Every community can be different. Just have an idea of what you want your community to look like and start implementing. So at the end of the day, you're spending what you would have spent building elsewhere, except this time you're intentional about your neighbors, about the neighbors you want. Is that?
Yeah, and also, Doreen, it's you can even start small. 1 acre, you can have, let me say, you can have 7 families on an acre. Or 5 families on an acre with 1 gate. So let's not go into 100 acres, 50 acres. We can start small, then it becomes a norm. It's my prayer that in Uganda, in Africa at large, that we really go into these gated communities and condominium. It's one good for efficient land management, and also security of our children and ourselves, and also living a social life where you are happy and you can even jog around the roads in the gated community.
Yes.
Where someone is not going to knock you, they are not going to shoot you. You are safe.
You're removing all excuses that people may give, not to start.
Yeah, you have to start.
It's expensive.
Yeah, you can. I have my friends, Amandra. We can go and buy 2 acres out there and build, or a Kabox investment club. I'm giving you some ideas on the show. Go and buy some 3 or 5 acres and start and build. It's like I've said, if a private investor comes in, they have to put their markup. But if you come together, it is cheaper. 1 septic tank. Me, I'm going to in my house. I built a septic tank. And my neighbor built a septic tank, and another neighbor built a septic tank. Where I dug well. I don't use the national water. I dug well. Sorry, national water don't come to my gate. I dug well, my neighbor dug well, and another one dug well. Why couldn't we have 1 septic tank? Why couldn't we have 1 well that can distribute all the 6 homes that are in the neighborhood? And if you want privacy, we can have a small boundary of this small size that can demarcate your, that it can separate your home from the neighbor's home. maybe very well. It can even be natural. You put a natural fence, like the way we do in the village. You put a natural fence, and it becomes nice, really. Yeah. Then I also advocate for street trees, and I advocate for fruit trees. Why should we put okay, palm is okay, but we can, there are very many
we can have some oranges
on the
some
street.
fene.
I asked my neighbors that, why can't we do this? Then they said, but people will eat it. So why can't they eat it? Why can't they eat the fruits?
So like let's all not benefit from that tree, because I don't want the other people to eat.
So I advocate for street trees, but mostly fruit trees on our streets of different villages. But I would be happy to get to know after this show, however much we have touched here and there. I would be very happy that some people decided after watching this show that they are going to have a gated community. I will be very happy. And I know they are there. Then I know they are there, they are going to do it.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, throughout the show, you kept pointing out that it's, you don't need so much. Just what you were going to use for your own house. You can now invite a friend who was also going to do the same for his house, and another one, even if you're just 5. And you start by your land and build. And
it is cheap. It is actually cheaper. I told you, if we dug one well, if we dug one septic tank, it is cheaper.
Yeah.
And we have one fence.
And more organized.
More organized. It is cheaper.
Even me personally,
you are convinced?
I'm reflecting. I am reflecting, guys. I am reflecting.
Yeah, we need to, Ugandans and Africa, we need to go into gated communities and also condominium. Otherwise, this kind of the environment we live in, where you are driving 2 kilometers. You are driving 2 kilometers on a one-way. Driving 2 kilometers on one way. When you meet another car, it has to first squeeze, and you squeeze, and then you pass. It's really not acceptable. Yeah.
And also, as Africa in general, back in the days, we were, everything was communal. I remember growing up, we were playing toko, we were playing hide and seek with everyone. Which is not there these days. These days, everyone is in their houses. All the children are in their houses. They are on PlayStation. They are on their tabs. They are on cartoons. So I would like to think that if you're and parents are doing that because, again, it became risky. They are also worried about the safety of their children. So I'd like to believe that if we are in a gated community, then the children now have that freedom to play with the neighbors' children.
Exactly.
There is that protection around it.
Exactly. But also, I have a group of friends. We normally have a talk overnight. We meet and talk until morning. So if you have that gated community and you agree, you have a fireplace. You have a fireplace. Every Friday you go there and take tea and talk and dance and what, and those who are tired go and sleep. And that's the life we need to live.
Yeah.
We live in a stressful environment, work environment, looking for money, and there. When you go home, you need to have. Imagine there are some neighbors who don't know each other.
Oh yes.
For 10 years, there
is a lot of individualism these days.
You don't know your neighbor for 10 years. Really, that's not nice.
Yeah. So what would you say? What would at the end of it? At the end of it, of all this, what would be someone who is watching us? What would you want them to take away?
To take away is to form investment clubs, purposely for building gated community. That's number one. Number two, land is a fixed asset. We are underutilizing our land. It is a scarce commodity. It is fixed because the population keeps on increasing. Land is fixed. That's why we are going to start. Actually, we have already started encroaching on wetland. God, there's a way God designed the world. He created the earth and divided it into water, swamps, mountains, hills, and also created wild animals. Now we are encroaching on wild animals, we are encroaching on wetland, and then afterwards, even if you go for prayer mountain to pray that you will not get floods. So if it rains, you'll have those floods that you are seeing because you have encroached. But if we well utilize our land, if we know that we can manage our land efficiently and effectively, then you will not need to worry about floods. You can pray and thank God for other things, not floods, because you are the one who have encroached on the wetland. The animals are, if they can talk in our language, they'll say, you have disturbed us, you are disturbing us, we are tired of you. So let's see how we can, and also call government to try to put good policies. But the government of Uganda, I'm told, is one of the best countries on policy formulation.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What about implementation?
It's a topic of another day.
All right, Sabat. Any more closing remarks?
Yeah. At Young and Flourishing, the good thing is that we are also working on creating African innovation cities. So if your friends have failed to come together to build gated communities, you come to Young and Flourishing Network, which we are planning, and we shall be model to other communities out there. So we are going to create what we call African innovation cities, where we have those gated communities, innovation hubs in those gated communities. We will have center for commercial, center for residential, and it's going to be impressive and massive at Young and Flourishing Network. I call upon I call upon the people to know they can go to youngandflourishing.com and they will get all the details. I call upon people to join the network, and we live together. Then maybe this one, I said it in passing, let me re-emphasize it. For guys in my age bracket, I'm around 40, 42. Yeah, I'm 42 years, and I know there are my friends out there and other people who don't know me. At 40, 50, 60, you're approaching retirement, and some of us don't know where to retire from. If you don't know where to retire from, get a group of 10 people of your age bracket, go to your favorite area, maybe up country, buy land, and then build small houses preparing for your retirement. It will be very good, and you will live longer. I can assure you, you will live longer if you are living with other people. Otherwise, there's loneliness in retirement. But if you are 6 or 10 or 20 people, you have a few doctors and nurses take care of you. You can walk around. You can play small games of old people. Then you will not feel lonely. Yes. So as I advocate for gated communities for young people out there, I also advocate communal living for old people. If you have not gotten where to start retirement, I have also not gotten. You approach me and we go and stay somewhere in Guru or Mbale or Mbalala, and we stay together.
All right, thank you, Herbert. Thank you for always making time to come on our show and just teach us something good too from what you know from your experience in this 4 decades. Those are 4 decades, yeah. So 4 decades and 2 years. Yeah. So thank you. We I really appreciate that.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And for those watching us, this is Flourishing Hub, which is a show that empowers young people to be the best version of themselves. You know, we have this through different conversations on the show, but not only just inspiring you, but also just giving you information here and there about different industries that you can explore. So we have been talking about real estate as an industry. It has many possibilities, from condominiums to gated communities, to mention but a few. So you can always reach out on our social media platforms, Young and Flourishing, or Church of Uganda Family TV, and let us know what more conversations do you want us to have. Who do you want us to invite? And yeah, let us learn and grow together. We personally, we will be very glad when we know someone out there's life has changed as a result of this show. So see you next Monday. Have a good night.